All right, so we're Team Thundercats. More specifically, I'm Alex. This is Kevin, and this is Christian. Working on some hardware. We're here to talk to you about Marvel, and more specifically, a browser-based RPG-style multiplayer game. Our goal was to defeat boredom, and according to Kevin's nephew, we did do it. He had fun playing it. So, our app has a lot of features. The main things are the encrypted user authentication. That was new. We did manage to get SQLized working, and Express handlebars also worked really well. Oh yeah, and HTML5 canvas, which is super complex and awesome that we got it working. All right, so logging in or signing up as a new user. When you first go to our site, this will be the page that you see, and we have a little YouTube video so we don't have to switch back and forth. The login, it authenticates, it checks the database to see if you're an existing user, and if you're not, it'll let you know you either use the wrong username or the wrong password. And then the sign up adds a user to the database. Pretty simple, and it sets up the session objects there on the right. Okay, and the next page you'll see is character selection. And the scrolling div on the right, that's holding all the characters that are stored in our database. And each character has attributes associated with them. And once you click on a character, you can see it, submit it, and it stores those values in session objects. And then you probably can't see it, but there's a games.new game, and that builds a game object. So each person that logs in gets a unique game object, which I'll explain later. All right, and so after you log in, you pick your character, and then you go to the lobby. And the lobby is probably the one of my favorite parts, just because you can have 20 people log in, and they'll all be on the screen. And let's see. Yeah, so it's hard to see, but on the left is available games. And there's options to join their game. And let me pause it actually. So up at the top, you can set your game to private or public, and whichever one you're on, you'll either show up in that left div, or you can use a link, which is right up here, to send to a friend so that they can join your game. And I'm going to hand it off to Christian to talk about admin and database.
All right. So I started with, I created a database for, first I started with, we knew we needed to grab those characters from the Marvel API, and there's, so we pulled them in, and I guess the database is sort of static. We just use it as a sort of a placeholder. So I created, I guess, using SQLized just to pull in that information and pull in those images that you see when you click on the character select screen. Also created a sort of an ORM-ish kind of, basically just creating functions so that if we ever wanted to add a new character or get a new image, we would have it there and then. And this is the admin screen. So I originally said, my thinking was that they would that Kevin or Alex could incorporate these functions, and then Alex very cleverly created a GUI, which is a lot easier to kind of go through. You can see there's your AMN. Oops. Very sensitive. Okay. You can kind of, using those sort of slider buttons, update the attack or update the health, and you can add a character, delete a character, and I'm not sure what the server actions are.
So this is like an admin view. Those sliders, when you hit update database, it'll actually update in the database. So when you go and pick the character next, his stats are different. In server actions, there's just one thing in there. It's a command to end all games, which just in case something bugs out, you can go in and just shut down the server without actually shutting it down.
Then let's talk about the.
So I'm going to talk about the game design and how it's played. It's actually really difficult to just come up with a game that isn't already pre-made. That was a small challenge. But before anyone does anything, there's an initial roll that decides who goes first that you don't see. If you lose the roll, this is what you see while the other player is doing their thing. And the winner is going to click on the roll, and they're going to have options of 1, 2, or 3, and they will progress on the board that many times. And we wanted our game to have an element of strategy, and we wanted the replay to be different every time. So it's randomly generated for both player 1 and player 2. And even at the same time, player 1's screen is different than player 2's screen. So their strategies are going to be a little bit different. So you can get a bad roll, and you'll have to play again. So your options for playing, you can land on nothing, you can land on an item, or you can land on a boss. So when you land on an item, you have the option of adding health, or attack and defense, or your fire rate, and that'll help you throughout the game. And then if you land on a boss, so your boss is a representation of player 2's stats. So when you're hitting your opponent, that's changing in real time. And so that'll be represented after the game. So these are some of the functions that the canvas element are using. The one on the left is essentially swapping out sprites. Those are the images that you see, and the middle one tracks your key downs. So if you hit key up, it'll do player key up. If you do, it'll also move. The right code will move it X and Y axis. And the one on the left is continuing the movement. The middle one is handling the collisions. And the one on the right is grabbing the player health. No, this is the updater. And so this is handling what happens when you get hit. And the updater function is actually what makes our game multiplayer. So Alex is going to explain.
Okay, so after each battle or you pick an item, it updates. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm just going to skip to this thing. Okay, so this is your game object for each game. Each game object has a unique game ID available. That's for the lobby. Current move is used to communicate between two players whose turn it is. And then the player 2 and player 1 objects just hold what character you've chosen, or what character you've chosen's data. And the way all this works is through AJAX calls. So there's probably about like a dozen AJAX calls a second. I don't know if that's a bad idea for doing that for an app, but it works. It didn't break anything yet. And yeah, so AJAX is pretty much our Firebase. And yeah, this is something Christian's working on.
So yeah, the thing that kind of lights up is it's called it's an Arduino Flora. It's an Arduino is kind of like it's just a controller. It's just a board that receives input and gives it out. This is tied to a NeoPixel ring, and this ring flashes whatever colors you want, depending on how you program it. So right now it's set to, so whenever you log in, when you ever go to the game screen, it does, well, some strategies.
Yeah. You want to demo the game real quick?
Yeah.
And then see if you can set that up. So
yeah, it's good to go. So. The only issue was that it didn't work in Roku because.
Should we get people to log in?
Yeah, does anyone want to log in and play?
Yeah, and see the lobby.
Yeah. All right.
Let's log out.
Yeah.
We have to stop. What? right, so we're gonna log in. I don't have.
Just do Kevin 1 doesn't have admin.
It doesn't. Okay. Yeah, you can just log in.
Okay, so I guess the reason it doesn't work on Heroku is because it's a device and it's set to my computer, and because Heroku is on the cloud, it can't really distinguish. I mean, it can't like go into your computer and look at what devices are connected. I guess in the future there is a node module that does that, but I found that out last night. So it's called Zeta, Zetta.
And if you did, oh wait, no. Okay, that's fine. Never mind.
You're up. You play?
Oh, did you play against them?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's your turn.
What do I just roll? Right?
Yep.
Yeah, roll, and then you click on a number, and it's kind of hard to explain how the whole game. Okay, so you'll fight. It's like a 30-second battle, or if you die, then you lose. And we'll actually.
Just wait.
Something's happening.
So you use the arrows and space.
I'm
Just
actually playing.
Oh yeah. You're losing. Don't lose.
Time's up.
Okay. So his time's up. So now it's my turn.
I'm actually playing Jamie.
Oh yeah.
Are you really?
So I'm gonna choose rapid fire. So it's your turn.
So now that he chose that, he'll shoot faster on his screen, and the boss, if you fight him again, he'll shoot faster there. So.
All right. So hopefully I get a.
So yeah,
Sorry.
so
Yeah, just make it blank.
yeah, just make it blank. So from the beginning, you can't see it up there because I'm like up there, but so I'm just gonna log into, or actually just open up the game itself. It's oops, I think we moved it.
All right, so Kevin just lost on his. It's gonna pull you and our screen to a like. Wait, what did it say? Did it say he died? It said he died, didn't it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So it should pull us to this other screen, but it's bugging out, so it's not.
Oh, there it is.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
If we get this thing blinking, there'll be more.
Yeah.